Today we're going to talk to Mike Bregman from Havas Media Group.
What is your name and what do you do for a living?
My name is Mike Bregman. I'm the Chief Activation Officer for Havas Media North America. What I do is I manage a team that helps our clients to buy media in smarter ways. So that could be a TV advertisement, it could be a page in a magazine, but what we try to do for our clients is make sure their brands are more highly regarded, so that if it's a product that's sold in a store, that when the consumer is at a point of purchase, say walking through a grocery store, they see the product, they're thinking about buying it, they're even willing to pay full price for it. So the advertising is a touch point, it's a really important moment of intercept. So you have to put the advertising at the right time, at the right place, for the right combination of people. So my team does both the planning, the buying, and ultimately measuring how effectively the advertising has intercepted that consumer segment.
So you deal with other companies and your customer base is other companies, not people, correct?
So we have clients that are financial services, so some of them are banks. We have clients that are in products, so they're things that are sold in the supermarket. We actually have clients that are supermarkets themselves. We have clients that are gas stations. The clients are across lots of different verticals. Some of them are drug brands. So they have lots of different types of need states, lots of different types of users and audiences. Some of them are patients, some of them are physicians, some of them are high net worth individuals. So every advertiser thinks about different ways to talk to their consumers. Our job is to make sure we take all of those insights and all the information they've collected and we plug that into the right types of advertising. Make sure that consumers are aware, considering they take the brands as differentiated products in the marketplace, because they're all trying to compete. Every brand has their own agency, so we're using really smart data. We're creating lots of different mathematical models to optimize every dollar. So if you think about it as an investment pool, let's say you're a stock trader, there's different stocks you can put your money in. Advertising is the same way. You try to figure out, do you put your dollars into NBC, or do you put into CBS, or Paramount, or Peacock? There's lots of different platforms, Netflix. You could also put into streaming audio platforms, Spotify, iHeart. I'm sure you guys are listening to music in different ways. TikTok is really popular these days. So where consumers have eyeballs on screen, we want to make sure that they're looking at our clients' products. So my job is to make sure that the teams are considering how best to invest those dollars, like a stock portfolio, but also see the returns that are going to get more eyeballs that are purchasing the product or signing up to be part of that portfolio of products.
Wow, yeah. So where does the data that informs those decisions, where does that come from? Do you collect that data, or where do you get it?
A lot of partners collect it on our clients' behalf. So some of it comes from partners like Adobe or Google or Salesforce. There's a lot of technology providers that we use, and those technology providers give it to us in a way that we can ingest it. So some of that is through a pretty big data stack. Sometimes the data is petabytes, terabytes of data. It's so large that if you were to download it, it would just go until the end of time. It's like a DNA coding database. Sometimes it's TV viewership data. So sometimes you can actually collect what's on screen. So there's partnerships with Samsung, LG, Shiba. The TV providers themselves can actually give you data on which networks, which channels you're watching. So that data goes once again into a database, and then you have to write different types of machine learning models. So my background is in data science. I was a math major in college. So as a math major, you write different formulas. A plus B plus C equals Y, right? It's the same sort of idea. You have a monster data set you're getting from partners like Google, and you sift through it in an effective way. That's essentially the job. Some of it is you have fun meetings with vendors, and you talk about content, new shows, and new ideas. Really the hard work is putting those models together and predicting different outcomes. So how do you spend $1 in Google, $1 in Facebook, $1 in TikTok, and what do you actually get in terms of sales of soda, potato chips, and bread? It's a fun exercise because you're trying different treatments and different ways to get consumers to pay attention and think about buying products.
Wow, so I was just trying to get into kind of what you were getting at a little bit. So why should young people want to get into this, and what's your advice for them?
Advertising is a hugely growing space. There's a lot of smart people that are thinking about ways to use data in new ways. I think it's the future of where technology is going. If you look at the technology space these days, most of where they're spending time is in analyzing how consumers are living their lives, their psychographics of what they're thinking about, what are moments, what are journeys. If you think about products overall, there's a lot of different dimensions to how brands are built. Why is Nike what it is? How did Google get to the size and scale and sophistication? These brands have to build a reputation. It's hard to do. So you need a lot of science. It's both art, because you have to have a really strong brand and a really strong product image, but you also need a lot of science. You also need a lot of really cool data and math formulas to figure out what works and what doesn't. Not every product that Nike launches is smart. Puma is actually a better example of one of our clients. So for Puma, they launch a lot of different products. There's a lot of different athletes, sponsorships, regions. How do you advertise in Seattle or LA versus New York? There's a lot of decisions to make. So I think it's a cool space to test new ideas, new products, and see what works. And then based on those interventions, those experiments, a lot of times are run by AI. You can start investing and thinking about data in a more clever way.
Wow, that's awesome. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah.